We got number 6 Oregon going up to Penn State, number 3 Penn State. So this game is, of course, a rematch of last season's Big Ten title game, which Oregon won 45-37 in their first year in the Big Ten. So, while that game was on a neutral field, this time Oregon has to travel up to Beaver Stadium, which is a different animal. I'm happy for the fans in Happy Valley. They finally get a whiteout game at night against a quality opponent, typically based on, their agreement with Fox's Big Nooner. They have to play those whiteout games like at 12 p.m., which I can imagine is pretty tough on the eyes. But in any case, the interesting dynamic that I am going to be trying to watch. I'm going to be at the Georgia game, so I guess I can't watch this one live. But I think the interesting dynamic in this game is going to be Dante Moore versus Drew Aller. Dante Moore, the transfer from UCLA to Oregon, he played a bit last year, but he's starting full-time now, and he's been looking great. He's been completing 75% of his passes, and he's already got 11 touchdowns to just 1 interception. Totally different play style than Drew Aller. Last time they played in their Big Ten game, Aller, he had 3 touchdowns, but also 2 interceptions. So right now this season, he's right under 65% completion. He's only got 4 touchdowns and 1 interception. They've got a different style of attack, Penn State does. The reason I think this will be interesting for both of these teams, both these quarterbacks, is because while both of these offenses are, humming on offense, they're both these teams are doing it in different ways. So, despite the disparity in statistics, between the quarterbacks, one is throwing it more, one is throwing it less, but their team is running it more. The statistics in team offenses and team defenses in terms of ranking and how they're doing from a stats perspective, they're actually pretty close. So, neither of these teams have been tested really for real this season. So it's a little hard to read into what these teams' strengths and weaknesses are for me. But you could also make the argument that because these teams have played a similar level of opponent, you could almost make an apples to apples, stats comparison. So, on offense, we'll start with offense. For Oregon, you got them scoring 48 points a game. And that's good enough to be in the top 10 in FBS. Penn State is actually not too far behind, 44 points a game. A few players that I want to highlight on the Oregon offense. We've already talked about Dante Moore, the quarterback. But, with Evan Stewart being out for the year, one of their star wide receivers, you got DeCorian Moore and Malik Benson stepping up. DeCorian Moore is actually a true freshman, and Malik Benson is a transfer from Florida State, and they've been stepping up in Stewart's absence in a great way. They're both the number 1 and the number 2 kind of receivers on this team. Kenyon Sadiq, he's a tight end. He's a receiving type of tight end. He's got the 3rd most touchdowns on this team, so he is. I always like seeing the tight end position being able to be a high. You never know what they're going to do. Are they going to be blocking? Are they going to be receiving? But Kenyon Sadiq, he's special. So he's been a very important player for them. And like I said, this team is very balanced on in terms of passing and rushing. Jaden Lamar and De'Aaron Hill Jr., they're their 2 most productive running backs. Hill is actually a true freshman as well, and he's already putting up big numbers for the Ducks. So I would watch out for Hill Jr. In the coming years. That's going to be a name to know for sure. On the Penn State offense, like I said, they don't pass the ball as much, even though they got some wide receivers out of the transfer portal. We know what we know about Drew Aller. We know what his capabilities are and what he's not good at. Passing is not one of them. So it's great they got him wide receivers that he needed them, but this team is built off of their running backs, Nick Singleton and Katron Allen. This is the running back duo in college football. They're the best running back tandem in the entire country and pretty much the engine of this Penn State, offense. One's, you could say Singleton is more of the explosive, home run hitter type of running back. Allen is the more power back type of player. Those wide receivers that they got out of the transfer portal that I mentioned, they got Trevor Pena from Syracuse. He's been a huge help. He was an all SEC type of player at Syracuse last season. And Kyron Hudson, he's one of those big body type of receivers. He came in from USC. On the defensive side of the ball, Penn State went and got Jim Knowles, national championship winning defensive coordinator from Ohio State. So their defense is going to be stout. It has been stout. Their total yards as a defense, it's got them in the top 5. They're only allowing 5.7 points per game. So that's pretty good. The Ducks defense is right up there. They're pretty good. Their defense is a little bit more like built on speed, and like more speed. Like that's their focus. They want to fly around. They want to create chaos in the backfield, and they want to turn opponents' mistakes into turnovers. Basically, it's a little bit more of a risk versus reward type of defensive unit. But if it's working, then it's nice to watch, and when it's working, it's working. So I don't know where to go in this game. To be very honest with you, I don't know who to pick. Penn State's rush defense is slightly better than Oregon's. Oregon's pass defense is slightly better than Penn State's. Players to know on their defense: Oregon has Bear Alexander, who used to play at Georgia, by the way.
He's been everywhere, man.
Yeah, he's been all East Coast, West Coast. Yeah. They got Bear Alexander on the defensive line. He takes double teams. Like he is a menace on that defensive line. Penn State has Dennis Sutton. Danny Dennis Sutton, he's kind of stepped in after, Abdul Carter went to the NFL. He is, the unquestioned kind of leader of this defensive line. Dante Moore is the better passer. Penn State has the better rushing team. Like they're so well matched. I don't know where to go. I'm going to take the easy way out. It's a whiteout game at night. Penn State's at home. I'm going with them. Aaron, what do you think?
I'm going to have to lean that way too. It's really hard to differentiate who's going to have the leverage. So I'm just going to go with the home team, no longer on the neutral site. I'm going with Penn State as well.